If you find yourself on a windy day with a little bit of spare time, how about taking a time-lapse video? That's where you set your camera up to take a photo, say, every second, and then when you play it back at normal speed, everything is sped up, and you get a really dramatic effect. It gives you a really different view of a traditional landscape. Time-lapses are a great way to add motion to an otherwise static scene. This view of the landscape behind me, well, it's pleasant enough, but by shooting a time-lapse video, I'll be able to make those clouds skid across the sky and see the grass in front of the camera wave around manically. It's going to look quite dramatic. Now, when you are filming any kind of video in this sort of situation, you're going to need to keep the camera or the phone as steady as possible. I don't have a tripod on me, but I do have this little stand. This is going to hold the phone steady enough throughout the time-lapse sequence. During your time-lapse, you will want to keep your phone as still as possible. Normally that would mean carrying a tripod around with you, but I can't be bothered to do that. So instead, I brought this little stand with me. This is very, very portable. You'll hardly know you're even carrying it. Now this stand is very, very small. It's designed to sit on a tabletop. And if I'm going to position it on the ground, well, it's going to be very, very low down, and the grass is going to be in front of the camera. But that's what I want to happen. But I like the effect that that's going to give. It's going to be much more dramatic. Had I had the phone on a normal tripod, it would have been 1 meter or 2 above the ground, and you wouldn't have seen the grass moving. But now, with the camera on the ground, the grass is going to be right in front of the lens. It's going to be waving back and forth in a very excited manner. And in fact, it's even going to cross over the horizon into the sky, which it would not have done had I had the phone any higher. It means that there's some foreground interest in the shot, and it's actually going to pass above the horizon into the sky. So we're going to see the grass waving back and forth in the sky. In terms of composition here, I've just cut it straight down the middle. Bottom half with the ground and the grass, top half with the sky and the clouds. And again, because of that low position, you will see some of the grass go into the sky, which is what I'm after. I also want to make sure that that horizon is nice and straight. I've got limited options to adjust this stand, but that looks pretty good to me. And as the clouds go back and forth in front of the sun, it's also going to cast shadows that will zoom across the landscape. Now, for time lapses, it really is a case of experimenting with how many pictures you take in a certain period of time. The software interface will vary between phones, but on this one I can enter the time lapse options here, and it gives me different periods between the shots: half a second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, and 8 seconds. The longer the period between the shots, the faster the motion will be when it's sped up. The shorter the period between the shots, the slower it will appear. And it really is a case of experimenting. On a very windy day like today, where the clouds are moving actually very, very fast across the sky, well, I could actually get away with maybe 1 or 2 seconds. But on a much slower, a much calmer day, you might need to go for a longer period to speed up that action. And I've already set it to record at an interval of once every 2 seconds. And then I just start recording and I leave it to it. Okay, so this has been filming for about 10 minutes, which should be good enough for a decent amount of time lapse. So let's stop it and play back what we have. I'm pretty pleased with the way that looks. It's always a bit of a surprise when you check a time lapse for the first time, but I really love the way the clouds are going by in the sky. And that grass looks really nice as well in front of the sky and the horizon.